live?
It is now. What's up, everybody? Play Legit, Real Talk, E3 Wrap-Up Video 2016. I am here. We are actually live right now. This is the thing that's going on. We got Daniel here. We got KJ here. We got Jim here. Jim is our exclusive guest from Space Game Junkie. He is an old-timer news writer for the games, so he's here to have fun with us.
I'm so old.
So
old.
Well, I can tell you about the time that I went to E3. So anyway, we are here and we're gonna talk about E3, our likes or dislikes, what happened, and we're gonna give our vote on who we think won E3 because I've got a pretty good idea of who I thought won E3. But anyway,
it might be a wash across the board who won.
I'm pretty sure that it was Ubisoft. I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Ubisoft won, but after the show, then they downgraded them to third place. Like the graphics.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you did there. It's a
little bit of that salt popping up.
It was all nice and shiny at E3, but I get my copy of the game and it looks a little like some shit got rubbed on the game, you know. So.
Yeah, it's like, hey, why does my PC game look like a PlayStation 2?
Watch Dogs, Division, salty. All right, no, but for real, let's get into it. Let's celebrate some games. KJ, man, what do you got up for us, dude? What do you want to talk about?
Hey, man, what's up? Which conference we talking about first?
Any conference you want to really hit home with first, man. Whatever it is.
Well, Hunter, I want you to put that spotlight on the game For Honor.
For Honor. Let me see here. I've got a whole bunch of these games for Honor. Here it is. Yep. It's coming up right now.
To the middle.
Oh, you got it, dude. It's right on now. It's playing. Pre-alpha footage.
And it already looks amazing. I remember the footage from last year, and it still looks good. So that's one game from Ubisoft that didn't downgrade at least yet. I just love the fact that you can play as a samurai or a Viking. I can't remember the third right. Oh, a knight. Just that dynamic alone is really cool to me. With the graphics we have now, and I did not expect there to be a campaign. I thought it was going to be multiplayer only because that's what people like to do nowadays. But yeah, just the whole way the combat is, and the campaign did remind me a little bit of Dynasty Warriors. I'm very, very much looking forward to this title. It's actually on my top 5 of games that I want to play that impressed me the most from E3. And as far as Ubisoft goes, that's the one game that stood out to me the most. They had other games as well. They had Ghost Recon Wildlands, and Knowledge, what do you think about that?
Well, as has been the case with a couple of showcases that Ubisoft has done, Ghost Recon Wildlands looked good when they initially showed it and showed the trailer and everything for all that. But then the gameplay footage that they showed at E3, I don't know if it was just because the guy who was playing it was bad at the game, or if the game was just still broken or what, but I wasn't that impressed with it. It seemed like they were trying to do their best ripoff of like the attack it from any angle that MGS5 does. And I was super hyped for the game because I'm a big fan of Division and I'm a big fan of the weapon system and all that. But the gameplay footage that they showed did not impress me at all. I was not impressed.
It took a downgrade, big time.
Yeah. Like, I was super hyped for that game. I was hoping that it was going to be like a good cross between the RPG element that Division has and the open world element that MGS5 made so great. It looked like it was a good cross between that, but then it just, the gameplay footage just turned me off on it almost. I'll probably still get it because I'm hoping that they can polish it before then, but I don't know what it's going to turn out to be.
Okay. All right. Well, KJ, man, what else you got on the docket there?
Well, as far as Ubisoft, they actually I like Trials a whole lot, and I also like the Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. And so they have that game, Trials of the Blood Dragon. They like combine both of them, and that looks like a fun 14.99 pickup. And I like the advertisement for that too. You know that whole '80s coming at you, hard headed, I like
Absolutely,
kind of
Kung Fury style. Oh yeah.
yeah, man. I like that
You
kind
know,
of stuff.
Blood Dragon, when that first came out, that was like a love letter to my childhood, right? Like some people will be like, "Oh, the Transformers game or whatever." Reminded. No, for me, it was all those super shitty VHS tapes that were like hiding around the corner in Blockbuster, mostly from Canon Pictures. Uh, you know, like just all that stuff. And I'm that game was like just zip compressed. Like how much of this schlock can we possibly cram into a video game? It was just nonstop inside joke. And having Michael Bean, be the voice for the guy was like the topper. So I haven't seen the Trials thing. I mean, it's like I watched the trailer, but I haven't actually like gone in depth with it at all. But I'm sure that it's going to be cool. Although I didn't play the Trials other games, right? So maybe you can clue me on what those are all about.
Yeah, they're very very difficult. It's like a racing game and a puzzle game because there's ways you have to maneuver your bike in stages. Sometimes you might have to hit the gas really hard. Other times you can barely touch it, and you also have to watch the weight of it too. And it's just how all that comes into play and the crazy stuff that's happening in each level is just it makes that series really cool and incredibly difficult, man. If you want a challenge, they got you. They definitely got
So which one of the conferences though did you like the most, KJ?
you. Yeah, the as far as the conferences for me, like presentation wise and everything, I would have to say, I think Sony probably had the best. I mean, they started it off. They went hard, started off with that orchestra. The music was baller, man. Like that, I can't wait to hear that full soundtrack from the new God of War. They opened it up right. They had everybody, everybody dressed up, fly. They come out there for that music, and but they also did a good job. And this is also where it's kind of a tie for me for a lot of things, but I think Sony had a little bit of the edge just because they had a little bit more exclusives that I was interested in. Um, but I think they both did a good job of just shutting up, showing you awesome games, showing you exclusives, showing you tech that you could get if you want to. You don't have to, but you can. And that's another thing my concern with PlayStation was that the VR was that they would focus too much on the VR. And it's like, well, if you don't have that, forget you. When actually that wasn't the case. I think they had a good balance between VR and non-VR. And then a lot of the VR stuff they announced is just an enhancement. So you don't even have to really mess with it. But if you do, hey, you can get a little extra view on stuff. Like Final Fantasy 15, they're gonna have a VR view,
Yeah,
and that's what I like, man.
it's like they added uh, like a VR element to games that they had already produced to have for the console. So it's just like you have this game that's for the console, but you can also play it on VR if you have the capability of doing that.
You
So
know, I'm
I got
I'm
a
interested in
question.
that. How does that work though with a like a Final Fantasy game though? Because I'm not following that one.
that's a good question. I didn't even know the Final Fantasy had a VR element.
Well,
Yes.
see, that's the thing. That's the thing I'm wondering too, right? Is like these games that are not really a VR game, like Battlefront. Okay, so they have that X-wing VR mission that they put out for that. So I'm wondering, like, I'm playing Battlefront and it's like, oh, I'm in the VR mission. Now I got to grab my headset and put it on, or can I just play the whole game? I don't need a TV anymore because I got that thing. And even if I'm playing a normal, television mode, right? It's not stereo, whatever. I wonder if their headset is gonna just let me do that because I would have bought an Oculus already if I could play all my old games
Right.
because they have Nvidia has these LCD glasses that you can buy and you wear those and it just makes any 3D game stereo, right? And it's just like, well, if Oculus could just do that, I'd have it now. But apparently can't.
But
So
the problem with Oculus is they didn't make good peripherals to go with it, and like the VR system has almost like the PlayStation Move, but they've made it better.
yeah,
And I think what the thing they're gonna do, this is just speculation, but I think what the thing they're gonna do is you can play the VR games with the VR headset, but you're still using a controller since they're both Bluetooth.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. I just gamepad and just let me have my screen on my face. And we're
Yeah.
good.
Well,
Yeah.
my question is though, is it in 3D? Like I'm not sure how I feel about playing a third person game such as Final Fantasy in such a 3D kind of way, if that makes any
Right.
sense.
So the clip that they showed at during their press conference, the camera went to first person view, and so they had that 4-player party. But you saw from one person's point of view, and he looked around, he could see the 3 members beside him. They're all fighting this big creature. So I think that's what they're gonna do. I don't know how you
So-
feel about that, but that's how.
Well, think about this. What about a game? It's no kind of VR, right? Let's take StarCraft, right? And I'm playing a game that you're controlling all these little dudes running around, but if I got the VR headset on, then it's head tracking, so I can look around the map, and I don't have to use like a control to move the camera around. I just look, and then at that point, it's almost like I have my table in front of me, and like all these little toy dudes running around on it. So that would be transformative to any kind of game that has like an isometric perspective, which is kind of Microsoft was showing that stuff with Minecraft, right? Where they like projected Minecraft on somebody's kitchen table.
Yeah, but that's augmented reality more than.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, like, so you have an artificial table too, right? I don't need that stuff projected into the real world. It's just stuff like Tabletop Simulator. We could all sit around a virtual table and play Monopoly.
Yeah, I'm more
I'd be down
augmented
with that.
fan myself.
It'll be interesting. I got the Final Fantasy video playing right now. I just it's kind of like when Grand Theft Auto added the first person element to the game. I think that was pretty cool. I just don't know how I feel about the full on 3D aspect of the stuff though. Because I mean, still in my mind, the whole 3D thing, like the units, like the 3D units themselves, like it's an extra peripheral I've got to buy and maintain and like deal with. I don't know.
Well,
It'll be interesting.
When the Wii first came out and all the games on the Wii were like little gadget games. It was just like super casual. Like here's like a trick that only works on the Wii. And it was gimmick games, right? And that's what I was afraid was going to happen this year, and thank God it didn't.
Yeah.
Because on Steam, when you look at the Vive and the Oculus games coming out on Steam, all that stuff is like indie quickie gimmick shit, right? And I was just like, oh God, it's going to be an E3 like that. It's just going to be like back up the dump truck and shovel this stuff out. And thankfully not. There is some AAA stuff, and it looks like it's going to actually make good use of it. But they also are respecting the people that don't have one. So the games aren't mostly, it's not like you must have that VR thing or you're not playing our game.
But that's the difference with Wii is they didn't ship the Wii without the controller. They're shipping these PlayStations out without VRs. So,
but to me, I'm gonna sit and play like with a Wii. I don't want to get up and jump around my room, right? I want to sit on the couch with a controller in my hand per usual. But I want the 3D experience of being able to look around. Like I'm a flight sim guy, right? Like I'm going to play Elite Dangerous. I look around my cockpit and stuff because I already use a head tracker thing, but I got to wear like a clip on my head for that thing to look at. Well, if you put the screen on my face, awesome, right? And maybe the day's coming, I'll have a laptop. I don't even need a screen. I just put my glasses on, plug it in. I'm sitting on the airplane, right? And you could surf porn in pure private at that point.
well, I mean,
what you're doing.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, at this point, the buy-in for the 3D stuff is what's still, like, I mean, I guess if people really want it and they really want to sit on their couches with this thing strapped to their face, that's cool. I mean, I've played on an Oculus before and I think they're fun, but I also think like the type of games that you're gonna play on an Oculus are also limited, right? Like you're limiting. And then this becomes a thing about exclusives again for 3D devices, and that's what has me worried. Is um, because you have a potential chance of expanding your stuff. Like, are you going to come out with games that are not 3D? And I'm specifically talking about Eve Valkyrie here, right? Like Eve Valkyrie is solely for the Oculus, and you can only play it with an Oculus. And there's talk about maybe taking it off and giving it to non-Oculus users, but that locks you in then on just being now the Oculus is almost like its own console. So anyway,
Yeah, I'm glad there was no gotcha tricks. Like, do you remember when Halo, right? It was coming out for the PC, and then Microsoft's like, oh yeah, we got this Xbox, and then they bought up Bungie, and it was like, hey, you want to play Halo? Well, only on the Xbox. So I'm glad that stuff didn't go down with Oculus, where they grabbed some high profile stuff. Like they could be like with Final Fantasy, like, you want to play Final Fantasy? It's only on the PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that would be ridiculous.
The thing I have to respect that they're doing is they're like doing that. They're doing the exact opposite.
Right, and that is good. Yeah.
Here's the PlayStation VR. If you want to play Resi 7 on it, you can. If not, you can just play it on your PlayStation the exact same way.
Yeah,
and that is good.
Added value.
And that's what made me happy about Sony's press conference, because I was thinking it was going to be the opposite, and it wasn't, man.
That's good, and I'm glad that they're doing it the other way, because I felt like just a quick saltiness here. CCP has already shot themselves in the foot with Dust 514, trying to branch out of their EVE Online MMO, right? So now they're trying to do other things, and I'm like, you guys are locking yourselves in too tight with too many other pieces of technology. You need to be a little bit more freeform with what you're doing, because you're still limiting yourself. But anyway, I digress. We're getting off topic now. But
yes, you do.
But
but how about
shut up,
with
KJ.
Nintendo, right? So Nintendo, I watched. I just happened to click through the Nintendo live event for just a minute. I didn't watch any of the conferences. I need to go back and catch up. I was trying to like not hype this year. I was just like, I'm gonna just let E3, like I'm gonna let it just pass over me, right? And I'm not gonna be affected. But then I saw a couple of things, and I was like, oh, and the dubstep started coming out, But but the hype train. But it's well, and the other thing too, like they show all this stuff, and it's like, we just showed you a 15-second clip of this game, and it's available for pre-order now. Go. No, don't do that, kids. Don't pre-order games anymore. But the I don't know, the Nintendo stuff. I looked at that new Pokemon game that they were playing, and it was like they had the guy that made it and the translator, and they were, that makes for a tough interview. But I'm watching the game, and it's just like, damn, that's on a handheld. Can I not play that on my TV? Can I take like, if I bought a 3DS, can I hook it up to a TV? I want to play that thing on my couch. I don't want to sit there and like look at a little 6-inch screen and try to do this, because that game's awesome. And I remember, like old school Game Boy Color, right? Trying to play in Pokemon with that like lamp that you had to hook in the side, otherwise you couldn't see nothing. But yeah, oh god, those things were bad. But I'm looking at this thing, and I'm just like, the graphics on this thing are like last gen.
Yep.
Right, and that's cool, And with the PlayStation made the Vita, did they have Vita stuff? Like, is this the year that I'm going to be like, oh yeah, Vita's worth it, or are they slowly just letting it die?
No,
It's almost dead.
Yeah, I think Vita's been slowly dying a long and slow death. However, things that are not dying in slow death, as I fuck up the transition there, is Halo. So there's the Microsoft's conference was pretty interesting. They Phil Spencer talked a lot about some interesting things this year, and their conference was quite interesting. And they also are bringing some of their games to the PC, including one Halo Wars 2. So I played Halo Wars, the original one, briefly, but I never actually fully finished that game. What about you guys, Daniel or KJ? Did you guys play through Halo Wars?
Yeah, I played it with my cousin. I never actually owned the game, but I played vicariously through my cousin who pretty much lived that game for a long time. And I mean, the game was a lot of fun. It's kind of like Command and Conquer, but Halo, which I mean,
Well,
I don't know.
since it was on a console and you're using the console controller, did that really limit the game? Like they just had like a few units as opposed to like, you
I
know.
don't really feel like it did because it, as far as Command and Conquer went, like you had so many controls that you could do and so many units to control, but they kind of simplified the game to less units, but at the same time you could like fully control them and exactly what they did. So you don't have like the grand scheme of things that a game like Command and Conquer would have, but you could still. It was almost like it was a 7 point articulated figure that you could completely control, but it was a small, like 1/8 scale figure, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So the thing that was interesting about Halo Wars that I've always appreciated was it was not as much of an RTS as it was more of an action RTS. So you're more focused on your units more than gathering resources and building bases and armies and stuff like that. Like they give you kind of the stuff as the story unfolds. I would almost say that it's like a more expounded version of say like Spartan Assault, for example. Like Spartan Assault, you have like the one guy on a top down thing. Halo Wars was like you're controlling a whole bunch of dudes in a very similar kind
Yeah.
of feel. And
And there's still a storyline with it too, because like the farther you get, the closer you get to the enemy that you're trying to kill, just as if it was a Halo storyline.
right, right, exactly. And I felt that was interesting. Now I'm curious because they're bringing some Microsoft's bringing a lot of their titles to the PC, or at least they talked about bringing a lot of their future titles to the PC, and it'll be interesting to see how things work out, especially with this. Now the whole buying of one for both the Xbox and the PC is pretty cool. Like you pay for one, you have it accessible on both. But with Halo Wars specifically, I was reading that you can't like play each other. Like I can't play console guys on my PC
Yeah,
and so on and so
can't
forth.
cross platform. Yes.
I think the technology they're still like having issues, man. I feel like they're still not where they want it to be, and I think that that's gonna maybe not come to this game, but I think as the years go by, we're gonna actually see that happening a lot more.
Right. Well,
They
they
try to do that with Killer Instinct right now, and they're having issues. I think you know about that.
right. Well, what's interesting though is that it's an RTS, right, or an action RTS, if you will. So what I find interesting is they've always talked about the keyboard and mouse versus a controller, who would win. They've already proven that the keyboard and mouse folk would more than likely dominate, right? In a real time strategy, you're like that's times two, like that's doubly worse because a keyboard and mouse person can move across a map way quicker than someone on a controller and control things. But they've announced that there's going to be keyboard and mouse support for the Xbox. So I'm really curious about this. So it'll be interesting to see where the future definitely does go.
Whoa,
Will
stop.
it still move at the same frames? I feel like that's the problem.
Yeah, so dude, keyboard and mouse on the Xbox, is that like the seventh sign? Like the world will end? And
Well, I mean, as
they
I've
were
talked about,
adamant they were never going to do that.
right. But I've talked about this though, man. The Xbox and the PlayStation, they're going more and more to being more of like a structured, um, specified like PC, right? Like they're like a very weird gaming PC. That's a very exclusive gaming PC that's got its own like operating system that's exclusive to it. And so
Right. They need to just do it, right? Just be like, here's a Microsoft official keyboard and mouse. It's wireless and it communicates over that whatever that jibber jabber that their controllers use that isn't Bluetooth.
is it like the Star Citizen like controller and keyboard and whatnot?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I got real salty there for a second.
Triggered me.
Triggered.
So but the deal though, like, give me a keyboard and a mouse. I can operate on the couch, right? So you need like some kind of mouse with magnets that holds it onto the mouse pad or something. It ain't hard to do, but something like that. And then just officially sanction like keyboard and mouse, surf the web on your couch. We know you got like a 4K TV, and you just blow the fonts up, surf the web. You don't even need a PC anymore. So buy our Surface tablet, buy our Xbox, and you don't need that Dell.
But therein lies the problem is you're deleting the need for a PC or a console, like, because either way, if you create an Xbox 3 or Xbox One that can use a mouse and a keyboard, people will stop using PCs. The games may look better.
Oh,
on PC.
I don't know about that.
Well, you're not going to kill the enthusiast market, but you're going to kill the casual PC gamer market.
This is
They're
true.
going to be out there in the living room at that point. And I think Microsoft looks at that and says, "Oh yeah," because they make a lot more money selling you an Xbox than they do a copy of Windows 10. That's
true.
all they got in a PC transaction is just the Windows OS.
Yeah, it'll definitely kill the casuals, that's for sure. I'm talking about like the enthusiasts though. Like you'll never get the enthusiasts to leave, like ever.
That's true.
All right, what else we got, guys? We got a few games to talk about.
That's the thing about this E3. It was probably one of my favorite E3s ever, just because there's so many games of interest that they showed. They out of nowhere they announced Dead Rising 4. I mean that. I was watching a gameplay demonstration, and they brought back Frank West, and they got him in an exosuit, and they got co-op, and it's Christmas themed also. And I saw him in the exosuit, like kicking cars and ripping zombies in half and all that. That's fun, man. That's probably really solid.
So I got a question for you, KJ. I didn't get to catch the Dead Rising 4 announcement. A lot of people that I have seen talking about it, they think it's a remake and maybe a remaster of Dead Rising 4 with a couple like extras added onto it. Or Dead Rising, sorry, the first one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Did you get like a different vibe from it? Did you feel like
watching them dudes play it for 12 minutes? It didn't seem like that at all. Like the graphics look really good, but in terms of story, no, it seemed like a new thing.
Are you in a mall again?
No, they showed them outside in the demo that I saw.
I'm playing a trailer right now. Apparently, you can play selfies. You can do selfies in this new one.
Yeah, the dudes, they were doing selfies, like they had them behind like these corpses hanging up, but he was like making all these goofy faces. It reminded me of Mario 64 because he could like do all types of weird shit.
Man, if they don't put a selfie stick in GTA 6, I'm just quitting.
Yeah, you got to make sure they have that important stuff in there.
These are the things that matter, everybody. Yeah, so that's a good one.
We got a lot here, man.
How have we not talked about God of War 4 yet?
All right, there we go. He said it. I've got it queued up. Here it is.
Well, so we're just gonna go back and forth between the companies.
Why not?
Yeah, let's just talk
about games.
Yeah,
well,
man.
God of War again.
Yes,
PlayStation
they're both so good.
PlayStation exclusive.
Yes. PlayStation exclusive. Yes.
Sorry.
And the only bad thing I have to say
that
about
was aimed at you, Hunter.
I think a little dubstep leaked out right there. Continue.
Right? Yeah. I think the only like negative thing I had to say about God of War 4 was the fact that they didn't get the original voice actor. But other than that, I mean, the game looked amazing. It took a completely different perspective, playing over Kratos' shoulder like that. You even played it as at what seemed to be his son because he kept calling him father, but they have to explain that further.
Well, I mean, did you play any of the other ones? The guy was a pimp. Like he had all kinds of ladies. So I mean,
you don't even know how many could like a crowd outside be like, "Dad."
Yeah. He referred to the kid's mom as your mother, like not my wife or not her name or anything like that. He referred to his mother as your mother.
You know, Kratos looks way better than he's ever looked before in this new one, though.
That beard, like, it almost humanized him a little bit. Because Kratos before was like built like a Greek god and he killed like a Greek god, but now
he look like you, Hunter. He look like you now.
Who?
Oh, his beard's... Well, this was before I trimmed my beard. He looked like me before I trimmed my beard.
They use the facial replication of Hunter to create Kratos.
If only. That'd be pretty baller.
But I really like the approach is that you're getting this is definitely going to be a new God of War experience.
Yeah,
The fact that they even, I think I will miss the fixed camera just because there's not a lot of games that do that anymore.
right.
So that's the reason why. But I also don't mind that it's zoomed in now. I think that'll still be really cool. But
It
I
kind of
also
goes back to that For Honor because that over the shoulder look that these games are taking on now, they kind of put you more in the game than the fixed camera look did with the original God of Wars. So now you're like, you kind of feel like you're more Kratos than just some guy who's button mashing, slicing up all these guys with chains.
Yeah, I think that whole father and son vibe that they put in this thing, I hope that endures throughout the game. What I fear is that you get to play with him and the kid long enough to get some attachment to the kid, and then somebody kidnaps him, and then you spend the rest of the game beating ass trying to get the kid back. I don't want that. I want him to actually be like mentoring the kid through whatever. Even if they make it like a survival crafting wilderness adventure bullshit. Oh God, too much of that shit this year. But
Talking about Far Cry?
it's like Kratos and son build a cabin in the woods, and then we go fishing, and we mini games.
That's a sitcom right there. Kratos and
Yeah.
son, come on down.
Yeah,
it
they
also
got a
Kratos
junkyard.
and son.
Norse
Bum,
mythology.
bum, bum, bum. Sorry.
I was gonna say it looks like it's taking a Norse mythology spin also, so we might even see we see Thor come up at some point.
Yeah, well, that kid's probably got a little bit of god sauce in him, right? So,
I mean, if he's Kratos' son, for real, he has God sauce, a lot of it.
yeah, exactly. So I don't know, man. Maybe that kid, by the end of the game, the kid will have a beard.
The more I think about it, when I look at that game, it almost seemed like that was like the prologue to the game itself. Like
Well, yeah,
Kratos.
that's my fear. Like they're gonna take the kid away.
Well,
And-
no, I feel like the kid is going to be more. He's like they're going to flash forward, and he's going to be grown up, and he's going to be just as strong.
What if the story is not that Kratos has to go after the kid, but what if something happens to Kratos and you're the kid going after your dad?
And what if the kid ain't grown up yet?
Little.
You could be like toddler Kratos, like swinging them swords, and that'd be. I honestly I hope they do that father and son shtick for as long as they can in there, because that was so cool. Where it's like he's teaching the kid like the rudimentary stuff, like
Here's how here's how to be a god.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh wait, monster. All right, wait here, and he goes and whoops the
like
thing's ass, and then it's like your deer's getting lit.
Yeah, Kratos is like teaching this kid how to be the soldier that he was before he got cursed by the gods. So this kid's gonna grow up and be this great warrior and or soldier, just like Kratos was, but then he sold his soul to save his family, but he ended up being the one killing his family. But this kid, I feel like what you said, there could be a point where Kratos gets captured and his son has to go save him, and now you're playing as this teenage kid or whatever that is just as strong as Kratos is, if not stronger.
Speaking of, well, I don't want to change the subject. If are we done with God of War?
Yes. Let's move on.
Okay, so I'm still on the PlayStation thing. This was an exclusive that definitely surprised me. Just the fact that it is exclusive, and I'm talking about Spider-Man. That's only coming out on PlayStation 4. It's developed by INSOMNIAC Games, who do Ratchet and Clank.
Yep.
So that's a very solid team to be doing a Spider-Man game.
So I wonder, is that Spider-Man Sony, PlayStation Sony?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like the last thing that they could do with their rights to the character of Spider-Man.
That'll be interesting.
Suit, and he has a lot of people were criticizing the white symbol that he has on his chest now, which I didn't mind. I actually think the suit's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was like a nice twist on it.
Yeah, man, and we play Spider-Man games since the '90s, man. There'll be plenty of unlockable outfits. So
Right.
even if people don't like that, they're gonna have a whole bunch of other things. But
And if you pre-order, you'll get the exclusive DLC.
Right.
You know?
Well, but if you buy it at Walmart, you get one suit, and if you get it at GameStop, you get another suit, and you can't have both. So,
They
oh
did
man, I
that for
hate
one
that
of the
shit.
games. They had a Kmart suit.
They
had
do
a
it for
Walmart suit.
every game.
Yeah, but the Kmart suit didn't look as good, and the threads came out. You only wash it one time.
Oh man, you're killing me over here, dude.
It
Oh
was
god,
sponsored by Martha Stewart as well.
All right.
that's funny. No, but that Spider-Man game definitely looks good. What else we got coming out with PlayStation?
Hey Jim, tell them about Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, well, robot dinosaurs. All right, we're done here.
That's all you need to say. Yeah,
That's all I got, man. It's just like, okay. So when we were talking about the God of War thing, a thing that I was thinking about is whenever that what was that called? The Primal thing.
Far Cry.
Yeah, Far Cry Primal. I like that game. Right, Hunter has no interest in it for some reason, but I like it because it's this thing of like, all right, you're a caveman, you're running around in the jungle, and
Yeah, they should have called it Caveman Simulator 2016.
And I'd have been down with that, right? That's why I like Ark, because I like running around with a spear, like running away from things trying to eat me, you know. So it's cool. And also, likewise, in this game, well, that like the whole Kratos thing, I kind of got that vibe, right? Like, I hope Kratos goes back and interacts with a village of people, and I hope he's doing things and stuff like that. And it's kind of like Kratos life sim, him and the kid. And I'm kind of getting that vibe a little bit out of this Horizon game, right? Because it's this girl that's running around with a bow and arrow, and she's doing all the like Far Cry Primal shit, right? So but except the all the animals are actually giant robots,
right.
Which, okay, sold, right?
So
there was
I'm worried about like when I watched one of the trailers, the girl discovered some type of futuristic technology inside a cave that gives her abilities over everybody else.
like she can possess robots or something.
Like,
yeah, she can avatar
if you watch the gameplay footage, she can like scan a robot and tell you exactly where the weakness is. It's because
I'll allow that because that's like a boss fight thing.
Yeah, but there's like this chip that she wears in her ear. It's almost like a Bluetooth headset, so she looks just as douchey as everybody else does when they wear them.
Yeah.
But it like gives her special abilities that all the other hunters from her village don't have.
Yeah, because you don't know if she's crazy or she's talking on the phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or talking to a robot dinosaur. Should it be?
Yeah, it could be. Well, she was like riding a robot cow deer thing, and then that thing got destroyed pretty trivially. And then she kind of had like a mini boss fight with the thing that was throwing boulders at her, and like you said, she had to scan it, and then it showed like a canister on its shoulder that she could shoot off. So I kind of hope. Remember, was it Shadow of the Colossus?
Yeah.
Right. So those games that those guys did, whatever company that was, I hope that there's some stuff like that, right? Like you get some big stuff that she's got to climb around on, and it's a little more open world. I hope it's not like it looks open world, but it's really like in a little box. It's like it's a like here's a meadow, you can't go past the tree line or whatever. Like,
yeah, I was worried about the same thing too, but then they announced that there's going to be 3 different terrains that she's on. It's desert, like dense jungle, and then the terrain that they showed in the gameplay, which is kind of like an average field, I guess. Yeah. So I feel like, especially with as big as games are now, like the games that Bethesda puts out and all these JRPGs that everybody's playing, they're huge. So I feel like this game is going to have to at least make 50% of the effort that these other games are.
Yeah. And the critters kind of remind me of the Geth from Mass Effect a little bit.
Yeah.
Except made out of junk. I don't know why like Skynet decided it was going to build like robot dinosaurs instead of Arnie, but I'll accept it. But the other thing is it calls back to a comic book from the late 70s, and it was a heavy metal like a one shot thing that heavy metal did, and it was called Metal Zoic. You Google that up, you'll see artwork from it, and it was like robot prehistoric you know, like the main guy in it was like a big robot gorilla, and then there was like robot elephants and stuff, and it was weird. And then when I saw this game, it's like I had completely forgotten that because that was like 1979 or something, and it just like popped that back in my head, like, oh damn. So I wonder if maybe it'll come up in some developer chat or something. The dude will have like a copy of Metal Zoic on the shelf behind him or something.
Nice. Horizon Zero, another exclusive for Sony. I think, one of the things that a lot of us have talked about is the sheer amount of exclusives that come out on the PlayStation versus the Xbox. And I think, even though this year Microsoft kind of came out with like, hey, here's our 4K console, it looks pretty badass, and Sony was like, okay, maybe we gotta take our.
Yeah, they got shook by that. They definitely got shook.
So we gotta go back to the the drawing room real quick before we come out with ours again. But that aside, you can't deny the sheer amount of first party titles that are coming out to these guys. It's just like even third party titles for that matter, just like they're coming out exclusively for Sony, and that's pretty impressive. And I've often said if I had the choice between buying an Xbox or a PlayStation of this generation, I'd probably buy a PlayStation just because of the sheer amount of bonus games that I'd get to play.
There's one more, brother. You gotta pull up, man.
All right, bring it on me.
Days Gone.
Days Gone.
That's that other zombie thing, right?
It is.
Yeah, that looked pretty cool. I saw the demo where there was like a wave of zombies chasing the guy. It was almost like that DayZ movie with Brad Pitt, where there's just like a wave of zombies.
You want to talk about an awful movie, though?
Yeah, but they kind of ragdoll the zombies, so they're almost like liquid, the way that they pour over each other and stuff.
Yeah, just the way they were, like you said, the way they were falling I just thought it was awesome, man. The graphics was just looking good too, of course.
Bend Studio. Haven't heard of these guys. Well, this looks pretty good. I haven't heard about this one yet. I, like Jim, did not watch any of the press conference stuff because the C3 was a little. It just didn't grab me. Like I wasn't as interested to get on the hype train to watch E3 this year. But I kind of wish I had. Now that I've seen quite a bit of this stuff, this game looks pretty sweet.
One of my more favorite ones, man.
This game definitely looks really good. So this is a tell us about it, KJ. It is a what kind of game?
Yeah, man. So it just appears to be a third-person shooter. They really did not focus on details too much at the press conference. And I don't know if they have spoken on it after that because I only watched that press conference. But it looks like a post-apocalyptic. You gotta scavenge and find stuff. But it just the fact that this is so many zombies coming at you and rushing and just how they just. Are you showing that right now?
I am showing it right now.
Can you see those guys? Look at them. Are you looking at them?
You talking about the zombies?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't gotten to the zombies part of the trailer yet, but
you need to do that.
Oh, the interesting thing is this trailer doesn't show the actual zombies in it, so.
Oh, you got the wrong one.
Oh no, I didn't get the wrong one. I just have the trailer, not the gameplay.
Yeah, the trailer, not the gameplay. Which the gameplay.
How do you make a zombie game and not show the zombies in the trailer?
All right, so here we go. I'm bringing it up right now. We got Sean Layden, whatever, talking about some bullshit. Here we go. All right, so.
So they made a lot of comparisons to the game. Like people who have watched the gameplay trailer and watched the the short trailer itself, they made a lot of comparisons to The Last of Us and the way that game plays. But the difference is The Last of Us would send 5 or 6 dangerous zombies or transformations at you, whereas this one, they did a press conference afterwards.
Whoa! Sorry.
Exclusive stuff. Yeah, exactly. They send hundreds of zombies at you at once, and they said there's 3 different sizes of hordes, and there's one could be a 50-man horde.
I just saw this little kid zombie scurry off like a spider monkey, dude. Holy crap!
Yeah, he was all hopped up on Mountain Dew.
It's almost like the one on Left 4 Dead that's more dangerous than all the others.
Right.
The little monkey ones. But yeah, they said there's 3 different sizes of hordes. They create environments where if you go the wrong way or go the right way, you could close off the zombies and kind of control the horde.
Like
Or
trap them in a canyon or something.
yeah, like with the gameplay trailer, there's several ones where like you're on a drawbridge and you can funnel them so they only come out like 3 at a time versus 200 coming at you at once. There's a couple times where he like
That is a
crosses,
lot of zombies.
right?
Wow.
Like it collapses parts of buildings because there's so many zombies coming at you at once.
You know, this is interesting. You know, an interesting fact about E3 this year with Sony is I was reading, and I could be wrong, but I was reading that all of their gameplay demos and stuff were actually performed on a regular PlayStation 4. Like, it wasn't some souped up, like, demo box. Like, it was an
Right.
actual PlayStation 4 that was running everything. That is a good sign from Sony.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So this looks pretty good, man. That's awesome. What else we got on the list? We got a
They
few more
actually
games we can
closed
talk
the
about.
show out with that too.
Nice, very nice.
I'd
See-
actually like to go back to Xbox. I'm just a massive Gears of War fan. I love Gears of War, and that Gears of War 4 gameplay demonstration melted my face.
Melt my face right off.
Melt my face because they're taking a lot of risks with this new one. They advanced the story. I think was it 25 years into the future or something like that, Daniel?
Yep.
So these are all new characters you're playing with. These are all new enemies. I mean, this could go very bad. But what from what and Cliff Blazinski is no longer around. They have
Which could
different-
be a good or bad thing.
yeah, it could be good or bad. But when I'm watching this thing, I'm seeing a whole lot of new that I like. They also, I mean, the Unreal 4 run coming at you. They also wanted to focus on weathering effects in this game. The weather actually has a significant, it significantly affects the gameplay.
It's dynamic weather.
Yeah, exactly. And like
it's
went out
almost
to let people know that.
it's almost like Unreal Engine 3. It was great when it came out, but it hung around too long. And
Right,
it was
yeah.
almost like we were in an Unreal 3 rut, and now we're finally out of it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
There was a time when people would say it's running on the Unreal 3 engine. People got excited, but then 6 years later, people like, oh, it's on the Unreal 3 engine.
right.
Yeah, it's
Well,
like
I
it's
mean,
needed,
have you seen that new Unreal Engine though? Like that new Unreal Engine is pretty swing.
oh, it's amazing. Like, yeah, I never thought I'd see games like that this soon.
Yes. Well,
But,
this is looking
I
good, man.
upgraded my video card whenever I got Unreal 4, I guess, because yeah, it was just like getting a new machine. Just change the engine. I guess that's a sign of how much Unreal 3 was holding everything back.
A couple of games on my end that I definitely want to talk about real quick. For the first time in several years, right? First time in several years, I am now interested in a Call of Duty game, right? Now,
What?
I've found them to be interesting, but I'm not interesting enough to actually buy and play, right? Like I did a little bit with Black Ops 2. I haven't played, but I've watched people play some of the more recent ones, and they just haven't really gripped me. However, this new one, oh yes, Infinite Warfare has me completely excited. There is definitely dubstep leaking out on this one.
Let me share something with you about that. And I will admit to this, man, I'm on that. I'm so sick of Call of Duty just because they've strayed so far from where they came from. And just the fact that they come out every year and I don't get a chance to breathe. I'm sick, just get sick of them. But let me tell you something, watching that, and they were slick about it at Sony's conference. They didn't tell you what it was for. They started up. Man's walking around, you see the ships. I thought at first, is this a new front mission? What is this, man? This looks really cool. I had no idea it was Call of Duty. They were real slick about that. And there's so much action going on. And then when they when they finally got to that first person shooting part of it, I was starting to say, wait a second, this is starting to look a little familiar now. But it was slick how they slowly it felt like something completely different, then slowly like kind of trickled into Call of Duty. But yeah, like I said, yeah, it piqued my interest too, man. It looks pretty solid.
Yeah,
Well,
and well, here's go ahead, Jim.
well, I see the arc, right, of where Call of Duty's been going ever since Black Ops 1. That's when the whole thing changed, right? Cuz Black Ops 1 had the first hint of the future stuff in it. And then, Black Ops 2 and whatever, when Black Ops 3 I do not like at all. And the reason why is cuz they went with that hero mechanic. It's kind of like a pre-Overwatch. It's like they got their Overwatch inside my Call of Duty.
It was completely an answer to Destiny.
Yeah, well, I'd never played
Yeah,
Destiny.
yeah, no, that was an answer to Destiny for sure. Yeah.
Okay, um, so like Joan is sitting here and she's like, "You got to get rid of Hunter and just stick with KJ because he's got the right opinion about Call of Duty." So she's like, "I'm with him." So, but it's the thing of like a lot of people are just not
KJ and I
into-
agreed though. What the hell?
Well, no, but he was saying about yeah, it comes out every year and it's the same damn thing every year, and and but the space thing, I don't know, I love that, right? That is cool. I think it's making promises that it can't keep to me though. But the arc that they've been in is like they had a little bit of that futuristic stuff, and then they went from the Black Ops somewhat futuristic, kind of Metal Geary looking stuff. Then they just jumped like whole hog into the future, and I think it was Titanfall that pushed them, because Titanfall had all that wall running and jump jet stuff and that. So then they gave everybody that Elysium like power exoskeleton thing, and I kind of liked it, but it put a lot of vertical in the game that people weren't used to. So and amongst that, yeah, Jones in the background, like I hate it. The whole vertical component people didn't dig, and then they were like, well, yeah, they won't do that again, right? And and so then the new Black Ops 3, I like the single player part of it. That was cool. And it's kind of like it's a movie, right? It's an interactive movie because you don't have any choice about what you're going to do. You're just going to run down that hall, take a right turn when they tell you to, right? But it's cool. I'm down for that. I wish that the single player was like a little cheaper. I would pay $30 for that, but $60 for that, and then multiplayer that I didn't really want. Because usually Call of Duties, it's the opposite way. Like I never touch the single player. I just play the multiplayer, and then like a couple years
Right.
later, I come back for the single.
Right. Well, that's what Call of Duty kind of became. That's what that's what I kind of wanted to really touch on with this, was the fact that when Call of Duty first started with Call of Duty 1 and Call of Duty 2, like in the early days, it was a very solid like campaign that you wanted to play, and then they had like multiplayer that was kind of there and it was fun. And I think Modern Warfare really exemplified on just like a good balance of campaign and multiplayer. Modern Warfare 2 even more so, and then it just kind of more became about the multiplayer more than the actual campaign, and that's where I felt like it was, and I just was not interested at all anymore after that.
Yeah, it was like a lot of people I've talked to said, yeah, Modern Warfare 2 was it. I quit right there.
Yeah.
And because they saw that whole futuristic arc happening, and they were just like, no, I want it grounded and real.
But
also
you know what
the
they did
problem with-
now? Now
the
they
problem with the
bundling Call of
consumer-
Duty 4 with this year's game. I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah.
a little bit of damage control.
Well, yeah, it is, but it's a trick, right? Because you can't buy that standalone. So
Right.
it's like,
And-
okay, we're gonna get you for $60, and then if you want to play the thing that you really want, then it's 80. Right. So they're gonna get all the people that don't care about the space thing. They're gonna pay $80 for a remaster.
The fucking space thing because they.
Yeah, but then so does that become a problem with the game, like the game developer, or does that become a problem with the consumer? Because you have all these, like, I would say the age group that plays Call of Duty heavily now is between 10 and maybe 30, maybe. And that's a broad, very broad generalization. Now, those kids who are 10 to 18, they don't care about a storyline. They care about getting online and killing their friends who are 2 houses down from them, or maybe in the same room as them, that they don't talk to anymore. So
Yeah, but I don't know, man. For me, it's like every iteration of Call of Duty, if it's just like let's run around in a maze and shoot each other in hallways, that part of the multiplayer it quit doing it for me. So I actually do come for the single player story now. Since they went to the futuristic stuff, it's
Right.
like that like they're headed towards Star Trek at some point here. But this last one came out, because it was like, okay, so they had some Metal Gear looking stuff, and then it was like, future post-apocalypse kind of thing, and then after that, then they went to the exoskeletons, so you're like Matt Damon running around, and then after that it was like even more futuristic, because now we're in like Neo Tokyo with robots and shit, fighting. I thought those combat robots were badass, but so much of that was an answer to the things that got introduced in Titanfall, right? Like the robots and all that. And but that's cool, because Titanfall didn't give me a single player story that time. They
Nope.
fixed that up. They fixed it this time though, supposedly. I'll wait.
Well, yeah, supposedly in Titanfall 2, there's gonna be a story. Just wait.
You can beat it in 3 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus
But it's
Christ.
got Peter Cullen. They went full Peter Cullen, man. I'm riding around in Optimus Prime.
Well, here we go. moving on. I'm actually really excited for the new Call of Duty, but I'm a little more excited for a little game called Dual Universe. Now,
Have we
Jim-
begun our survival crafting?
Jim and I are co-hosts over on another show called Space Game Junkie, and we love all things space games over there at that place. And let's just
You
say,
Citizen?
what?
Play a lot of Star Citizen.
Dude,
Nobody's playing any Star
you're
Citizen.
you're gonna get a lot of saltiness here in about 5 seconds if we keep that
So-
one up. But
Man, so are you?
so here's the
still
thing:
waiting on that?
Star Citizen wasn't even at E3 this year because those mothers, man, they didn't even show up because they have nothing to fucking show for it, right? Here we go. We got a game.
How was Last Guardian, by the way?
They finally gave a release date for it, man.
Finally, they gave
Yeah.
release dates like 10 other times. How long's that game been in development?
1976.
Yeah.
Right there at Duke Nukem, buddy.
Well, I brought, because it was right after Shadow of the Colossus, right? And then they were like, Last Guardian, look at this shit, and it looked as good then as it does now. Well,
It didn't look
maybe
great.
that's,
Really didn't look great at the conference. It really didn't.
yeah. I mean, it was mind blowing then, but now it's kind of like, well, okay, finally this time,
Like the backgrounds and stuff look straight, but that little kid, man, that little kid looked like he's pulled from Ico on PS2.
He looked like he
Yeah.
was still shaded almost. Like they did it to make it look bad on purpose.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, the whole God of War thing, that's another thing that it made me think of is Ico, where you had the princess, right? And it was kind of like you were defending her from stuff. So maybe that vibe too.
So I think the point Jim was trying to go with that with that Last Guardian thing is that's Star Citizen. They're going to be talking about Star Citizen being made for the next 15 years, and it ain't going to come out yet.
Yeah, but they had a hell of a demo at E3.
Last year.
Yeah, they did.
Last year. Right? They canceled their PC gaming show this year because they've got nothing to fucking show for it.
Can we talk about that AMD thing? We probably should.
Ooh, we'll save that for the after show.
Yeah,
But
right.
Talk about the dual
universe.
citizen.
Dual universe is like if Infinity Battlescape, if you guys know what Infinity Battlescape is if the game Infinity Battlescape and Space Engineers had a baby and like they took all the best things from both of those games and came out, this is what Dual Universe is all about. And I mean, you want to talk about the crafting capabilities, making your own ships, not paying for JPEG pictures. You're actually going to be able to build it yourself. And a full-on seamless transition universe that you can be in, which is on a grander scale than anything that has been done by both Space Engineers or Star Citizen at this point, or any other space game of its type.
So what you're trying to say is like every time that we play Space Engineers and you bitch for hours on end that there's no economy and there's no travel and there's no everything that this game does, right? So apparently they had your room bugged.
Right.
And
So, in other words, there's a shit ton of dubstep coming out right now. Like, get hype train, get woke, everybody. Here it comes. You know, I am ready for Dual Universe. Dual Universe is gonna be, well, I hope that it is everything that I want. So,
Hey, I think
What-
I got one that you're looking forward to even more, brother.
what's that, my friend?
The Legend of Zelda.
Oh shit!
Full disclosure, I did not watch a single minute of Nintendo's E3 press conference because I just don't care.
Buddy.
Bro, you should go back and watch it because holy shit.
Let me
The only
tell you
thing,
something.
yeah, I don't know.
What I heard in this one though that this time Zelda's a girl. So
No.
Nope.
What? What?
No.
yeah,
No,
it's
man.
true. No, Link's the boy. Zelda's the girl. Always has been.
No, dude.
Troll.
Don't even get me started on this bullshit. Stop it. Stop it.
But what they showed, man, it was definitely my top 5 of games that I've seen this year. That just the whole art direction that they're taking with this Zelda and just some of the things that Link will be able to do is absolutely amazing. I mean, it's the most trending game from the expo.
Right. Most talked about game from the expo.
Yeah,
And that's Wii U, right?
Yes.
that's on. The
Is it
Wii U,
enough to
on
save the
NX.
console?
Yeah, possibly. But the thing is, though, is Nintendo. Man, let's talk about Nintendo just for a second. Nintendo doesn't care, right? They're like the original gangsters of the console, right? They're the only ones left from like the beginning times of consoles, right? Like they're the only ones left. And they don't play by Sony and Microsoft's rules. They don't give two shits about Sony and Microsoft's rules or like whatever anybody else thinks the rules are supposed to be for the E3 bullshit. Like they just don't care. And they came out with this year, like if you go and watch what they got going on, this is the biggest Zelda game that they have ever made.
This
It's
might
okay.
be the most. I haven't been impressed by a Zelda game like visuals in a long time.
Dude, I haven't been impressed since Ocarina of Time, to be honest with you.
Yeah, man. And
Like when they went from that 2D to 3D with Ocarina of Time back on the 64, this is like that kind of a leap. Like they're making a huge leap with this new one.
And
So what-
Mo Chocolate got to play it. He went represented Play Legit at this year's E3, and he was standing in line for 4 hours. And
Just to
he
play
said
it.
yeah, and he said that they let him play for 30 minutes, but he said that it is absolutely worth the wait. There's also, if you go to his Instagram, or you can just use the hashtag Play Legit on Instagram, he has videos of himself playing it and other little cool pictures too. He has a picture of the voice actor of Mario and other little things like that. But yeah, so check that out. I'm plugging that stuff. You know what it is. Hashtag Play Legit. Boop, 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 all that. But yeah. So, he makes the Zelda just sound just incredible.
There's several things about this Zelda that's interesting. One is they've changed the way in which you interact with the world. So it's got a dynamic weather system in it, right? So like, you know, clouds could just like roll in and start raining on you like randomly. And the way that they're doing the weapons and the armor in this game are like unlike they've ever done in any of the other Zeldas. So like your weapons will actually degrade over time. So like your stuff can break and you'll have to get new weapons like
It's
later.
Fallout Zelda.
Huh?
It's Fallout Zelda.
Well, it's like Fallout Zelda meets Shadow of the
Dark
Colossus
and Dark Souls.
and Dark Souls. Like it's a lot. They've got a lot going on with this one.
The visuals actually remind me of Journey.
Yeah, there are a lot of visuals about it that are very journeyous, but the armor system is different. Like the way in which he gets clothes, it's not just like your standard green tunic or standard red tunic or blue tunic. Like it's like he's got different sets of like clothing that he can pick up and loot from different so yeah, it's got a very Fallout vibe to it. I would say.
Did they make like Legend of Skyrim? Are you
A-
forging armor and
I don't know if
crafting
you're forging armor, but they there's no more like swinging your sword through the grass to get like hearts or rupees. If you want to get your health back, you can like actually climb trees, like any tree, and like get an apple and like eat it, and it'll like fill up your health.
No. Well, man, the clay pot industry is really going to go to shit then because you're not going to have to around throwing them.
Well, in one of the videos I saw though, he was in the first temple and he was picking up pots and throwing them around. The guy was.
Okay, they're safe then. So
The interesting thing about this though is they're adding in the amiibo from the Twilight Princess HD remake. The if you got the wolf amiibo with that, you can actually touch the amiibo to the controller, and you can get the Link Wolf as a sidekick in the game,
that's pretty cool.
which is actually kind of cool. So
Yeah. I'm impressed. The little bit of it that I've seen, that I did not realize that a Wii U actually had that much juice. I didn't think it could do it.
Here's something I noticed too. This is what I think they did in that premiere gameplay trailer. I think that they spliced footage from the Wii U version and the NX version. I think like it's both coming at the same time, because I saw some of the backgrounds in that trailer didn't look so good. Like some of the rocks hills, there's a couple shots that just don't look good.
Oh, is that considered false advertising then? Because they're not even showing you the.
oh come on, like every other company's been doing that at E3 though. Like they show some high res version at E3 and they come out later.
So did they even show the NX though? Did they say like, yeah, we got it, and
and that's where I'm headed, man. Yes, Zelda looks incredible. Yes, it's on my top 5 of games that impressed me, but Nintendo did not show up. They did not show up, because I got to put it to you like this: I have a Wii U. I play in Pokken Tournament. I love that game. This year is 2016. I'm a Wii U owner in 2016. The only thing I have coming out right now is Paper Mario this year.
I can name 5 games right now that come above. Like, even if I were to be mind blown by Zelda, I can name 5 games right now that are above that.
Well, that's been Nintendo's problem long term, right? Is they got Mario and Zelda and Metroid and a couple other minor things, right? But it's like you get a Nintendo platform to play those 4 or 5 core things,
Right.
and
But that's what I'm saying though. Like Nintendo doesn't play by everybody else's rules. They really just don't care, right? They keep coming out with the games that they're going to come out with. Now, the frequency at which they're coming out with games though has gone down considerably over the last 5 or so years.
Yeah.
But they the games that they do come out with, it's just for them. Like they don't care.
But
It's almost all first party titles from them.
That's the problem, though. Like, if they're not making money, they can't put the money into these games.
I'm not arguing that point. Like I'm not arguing that point, but I also don't think they care. Like I think
I think that 3DS is
I understand they don't care. Like they want to make games for themselves. They want to make games that are fun for their system. I understand that, but a lot of people are selling games or selling DLC or selling season passes so they can improve on what they've already done.
sure. Well, at this point though, it's about, like if you look at Sony, you look at Microsoft and you look at the PC, right? So Sony, Microsoft and the PC, they all have some exclusives on them all, right? But a lot of your big contender games you can get on all of those platforms. So it's really just kind of like where are all your friends playing it at, right?
But the thing is those big platformer games, they have exclusivity rights for DLC. Like, I play the Division heavy, but I have to wait 30 days after this DLC drops that they announced at E3 for myself to be able to play it, because I play it on PS4 because Xbox has exclusivity. Same way with Call of Duty.
Right,
They
but
have-
like you're still gonna get it though. So just because one console's gonna get it sooner doesn't really, like, to me that doesn't mean anything. Like I mean I just like, timing on those kind of things. Like, a timed release on something like, well, Grand Theft Auto, I've been playing it for forever on my Xbox, but now I can play it on my PC. Well, since I knew it was going to come out on the PC eventually anyway, I really just didn't care. Like I got a way better version than everybody else did. So it was just kind of like,
yeah. I'm still sitting here waiting on Red Dead Redemption to show up. By the way,
yeah.
I'll-
I don't
Yeah,
think
man.
that's ever going to happen though, but whatever.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite games ever, man. Yeah, but I still want to talk about Nintendo just because I'm thinking they only have, like I said, they only have Paper Mario for Wii U. I'm talking about this year. and they didn't talk about NX at all. I'm sure that's gonna happen soon. But I'm just saying, if you are solely, someone out there solely a Wii U owner, and they're only gonna have Paper Mario,
Right.
that wouldn't have been acceptable in the '90s, and E3
I
in the
guess
'90s.
I guess I
That
should
would
have
not been
prefaced.
acceptable to show up and show me one or two games, literally
Yeah.
two games. That's
I guess I should have
unacceptable.
prefaced what I said because I want to buy a Wii U, but I want something to draw me to spending $300 or however much it is now.
Right.
Right.
And that's how I feel about the Xbox, right? Like I would love to be able to play Halo or whatever, but I'm not gonna hash out all that money for like 2 games. Which is why, if I was to buy one, I'd buy a Sony because
They have tons more exclusives.
clearly they have way more exclusives. But I'm already locked in with my PC as it is right now anyway. So,
But
And
the
Hunter, you're
difference
going to be
is,
getting
like,
a lot of stuff that they announced at the press conference at Microsoft this year. Like you're going to get a lot of them because a lot of it's
well,
cross.
I mean, capability of getting them and actually getting them are two different things.
Well, buddy,
and
no,
then,
no,
and then
you're
every
getting them.
10 years
You're
that
not wrong.
a Nintendo system comes out, because it seems like, I understand they don't care. They want to make games that are fun. They want to make games that are for their system. I get it. But the reason they come out with a new system every 10 years is because they don't have the games to support their system in between
Well,
that.
right. They don't have the third party games to
Yeah,
support
I've
their
talked
system.
on that a
That's
lot, man.
that's that's really where it hurts, is because they have almost zero third party games coming out.
Well, I think all that
I
action.
remember
There's
playing
also
Black
support.
Ops 2 on KJ's Wii U, and I thought it was the worst gaming experience I'd ever had. With
Yo,
that.
all the ports are shit. They have been, right? Because
Yeah.
and then people are like, well, that platform's all underpowered. It can't run. It's just like, no, it can't handle ports because it's not doing the same thing. Like the PlayStation and the Xbox are damn near the same box. It's just got a different sticker on it.
Right.
And so they're built for ports. Where Nintendo doesn't give a shit about that. So they're like, well, we're gonna make a Mario and Zelda box here, and then some people are gonna put stuff
Right.
out. Unfortunately, there's gonna be
Nintendo's always been about the family in the living room, right? Like
well,
that's kind
well,
of
I think Nintendo has actually, in the last 10 years, has been a Game Boy company, right?
oh
That
yeah, because their handheld market's dominating.
yeah, they're
They
doing the
kill it with
3DS
3DS.
and they don't care. Like the whole Wii market is just like icing on their 3DS cake. That's what keeps the company alive, is that mobile market.
Then I think Amiibos are doing well too now. So,
Amiibos are doing well, but that's not enough. Like a toy, this is not Hasbro we're talking about. This
Well, I mean,
toy is
you
enough.
guys saw what happened with what was it? What toys
Disney
were?
stuff.
Yeah, it was all the Disney Infinity shit just was like gone. Like they canned all of that stuff, and they had all those action figures and toys and whatnot, and it's just like,
yeah, I was just about to buy Black Panther, and then I got the news. I said, I don't care.
yeah, no, it was just like, I guess they're cutting their losses. I don't know, because everything that I saw was pointing to the fact that it was doing really well, and all of a sudden out of nowhere they're like, nope, we're done. See you later.
But I think honestly the reason why is it's the only first party video game thing that Disney had going, and they were just like, we're
And
getting
their developers, yeah.
so yeah, and because you saw that Star Wars stuff, right? There's like 100 Star Wars games in development, and Disney's making 0 of them in house.
Yeah, it's all being hashed out. Which, speaking of which,
Which could be a
um,
good. Sorry.
no, that's definitely a good thing. I think all these Star Wars games that they're potentially going to be doing is going to be great. I just don't want more Battlefront. Like I
No,
need
if they made an exclusive Wii only Rogue Squadron Returns, they would sell a shit ton of Wii's for
Yeah,
that
man.
one game.
potentially, yeah.
What? Ask me why I got a Wii hooked up to my TV.
Solely so you can play Rogue Squadron 2 and 3.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Those are good games, man.
So anyway, it was a good year this year. There was definitely a lot of games that came out. Just a
I was very happy.
quick few honorable mentions that I want to throw out there real quick. Mafia 3, Forza Horizon 3,
Yep.
Cupheads, and
Which shockingly, Forza Horizon 3 is coming to the PC as well. I am shocked shitless that they're going to do that.
And it's a buy one get two copies basically because they're doing it for Xbox and PC.
Yep.
and then
That's pretty much their MO this year, man. A lot of those games are doing that.
and then Scalebound. Which Scalebound to me, I'm gonna be straight up with you. I was not impressed with Scalebound. Really, I mean,
Not at all.
I felt like that was a Final Fantasy game that should have come out like 3 years ago.
You know,
Looked like it did come out 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I mean, conceptually, I thought it was interesting, but like, I mean, execution wise, it just.
let
Sorry,
me tell
guys,
you what
I've seen
turned
this
me off,
already.
Man, I do want to play it because though they messed up with Ninja Turtles: Mutants in Manhattan, I love Platinum Games. They remind me of a modern day Capcom because they really make good action games. If someone else was making this, I wouldn't care at all. But because they're making it, I want to play it. But what took me out of it was the main character. I can't remember his name right now.
Exactly.
Oh, come on, man.
He is uncustomizable. He sucks. I don't like that character, man. I'm sorry, man. Like, and the fact that there's gonna be it's 4-player co-op, and you're gonna have 4 people playing the same dude who sucks. That's throwing me off, man.
So when you say modern day Capcom, do you mean they give you 4 characters and make you pay for another 20? Is that what you
I
mean?
mean, if Capcom operated way they used to,
Okay.
now,
Okay. Like
that's
with
what I
fun.
meant to say.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll give you
But-
that.
Yeah.
The other 2 games I want to mention just briefly is Destiny and The Division because I played both of the games pretty heavily. Division, they seem to be learning from their own mistakes a lot quicker than Destiny did because Destiny was broken for a while and they took time to fix it. Destiny, because Ubisoft, they're fixing it a lot quicker than Destiny ever did.
Well, is it
Well-
in a better state now, or do we have to wait for the DLC?
Because
No.
I'm not happy with that game at all.
Hunter's mean mugging because it's not on PC.
With which one?
No. Destiny, I'm not mean mugging on. I'm talking about the Division.
Oh,
Really?
okay.
The Division has me pissed because they fail to understand scaling, right? They don't fucking get it, right? So if I'm playing, right, and I get to a certain level, and then all of a sudden my friend gets the game and starts playing, and he wants to roll with me, dude's got to wait in the fucking back so he just doesn't keep getting popped and having to respond every 5 seconds, right? Like there is no scaling in that game at all. Like it doesn't scale me down or like my friend up, like at all.
Yeah.
He's talking
Yeah, I
about
can-
me. Every time I put my head up, it'd get shot off because
Right?
he's like level 30 and I'm level 12, and I can't even.
I feel like the sharing system kind of upped that. Like it didn't really take care of the scaling, but it was a little progress towards the scaling system because if you drop a 240 item that you don't even need, whoever you're running with that is level 15 or whatever.
Right,
They-
that makes sense, but I'm just talking about the whole like just in general. You know, it makes it almost like it becomes a challenge for the lower scaled person to
Well,
even
it takes about 50 bullets less to kill me.
So are you talking about like if you're in a hard mission with a person who's level 17 but you're level 30?
right.
Scales to level 30, is that what you're talking
It does
about?
not scale, is what I'm saying.
No, all the enemies will be the highest person.
Right.
Yeah, that's
and
what I meant.
everybody else, there's such a difference in level. Like if you're like 2-3 levels under me, stuff that I'm going to be able to fight fair and square is going to one shot you.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. That's absolutely right. Yeah. They have not fixed that, but I think the reason they have not addressed that is because the bigger problem with the entire game is the dark zone.
Oh,
Well,
That is true. That's also another issue.
Well, that's another thing too, is because the level cap is so low. It's only 30. You can hit it in a weekend, right? Like and then you're 30 with everybody else. But then the thing to do is you have to just grind dark zone content. So I think it's like we sold this like it's going to be a shooter RPG kind of Destiny thing. Turns out it's really DayZ.
Yeah, I don't know. It's yeah. There's just a lot about it. Like, I mean, I enjoy the Division, like conceptually, like what they have going on, and I've even run around with a buddy of mine. We're at the same level in the Dark Zone doing stuff together. But like at the end of the day, um, it's extremely wash rinse repeat. Like very wash rinse repeat.
Yeah. Which that's the reason, because they have made patches to make the game better. Like the loot system, they've made it better, which is a huge part of getting better or getting stronger in the game. But it seems like with the 1.3 update that they're releasing at the end of June, that they're trying to make it not wash, rinse, repeat. Not you do the same circuit in the dark zone and you farm stuff. It's not you see the same layout every time you run around for 15 minutes. So I feel like, because the way it was with Destiny, you would farm missions. You saw the same mission 3 times in a row, and then you would go into something else, and then you'd have to go, farm something else over here and farm a resource material or something like that. And it took them a year to fix that, because now they're just now getting to the point with the Taken King and now the Rise of Iron that you don't have to do that anymore. But the Division's much faster about it. It's like these RPG element shooters are getting better at not making the player wait to have the problems fixed.
Yeah, so the thing that more so than the level thing, what bothered me in it is, okay, so it's an obvious deal that like they are making their first MMO, right? So
Yeah.
they don't know. Yeah, well, people there should have known, but they, as a company, they don't know about the little stuff like the leveling and whatever. But the problem that I had is that coming from playing Tom Clancy games, which like Rainbow Six and stuff, you shoot somebody in the head, they're gone, right?
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
and it's like
KG's getting antsy over here, like,
yeah. So,
That
but
was all a
that's
smile
what
on you,
killed
bro.
me, right? You get to that first boss fight, and it's like the guy that will not die, and I'm shooting him in the face, and I unload like 10 clips in the guy's face, and I'm just like chiseling an armor bar off of him while he's sending minions at me, and I'm just like, nah, this is not a Tom Clancy game at that point.
It's
It's
the
like,
RPG element they didn't get right. Like
Right.
they made more than any other game I've ever played in my entire life. This game is all about bullet sponges. And I've played Destiny, I've played many other RPGs, but this game, I mean, you go up against an armored enemy in the Division, it could take you a solid 5 minutes to get him down if you don't have the right DPS.
Yep.
yeah,
Absolutely
and
right.
it's like if he had shields, right? Like it's Halo, I might believe this, but I'm shooting him in the face, so you know, I don't know. The game that I have tremendous hope for, and I it's probably going to hold me down and shit on me, but the new Ghost Recon game, because it looks like, hey, let's take Grand Theft Auto and then
Mm-mm.
stick a tactical shooter in it.
I don't think it's gonna be that though.
Yeah, I know, but I can dream.
Um,
It could still be fun. It definitely took that visual downgrade, but I
I
think
mean, we touched all over earlier. It's like a
Right.
mix between the Division and MGS5.
well, guys, I think we've hit a lot of the points here. I want to mention one last honorable mention, and that's Watch Dogs 2. I am kind of
I
curious.
was gonna say that too, man.
I do think that Watch Dogs 2 definitely needs to be kept on our radars. Watch Dogs 1 had a lot going for it, but the
And you-
problem
No one cares.
was the driving mechanic just had me just throwing rocks through my TV. So,
Hey, bro, you need to just get good.
get good. So if they can deliver on an improved driving mechanic, and from the looks of things, I'm liking the new main character that they're showing off. I'm liking
Hey,
the
pause it
setting.
on him real quick.
I don't have the video playing, unfortunately, but I can get a video up real quick.
Yeah, I want to do something, man.
Watch Dogs 2 really, because I wanted so much out of Watch Dogs 1. Like, there was so much about Watch Dogs 1 that just had me excited, and then, just trying to play the game, just, mm, 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 mm.
I would like Sleeping Dogs 2, but have multiplayer in it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I could be down for
do
that.
for Sleeping Dogs what you did for GTA 5, and we will be friends for life. That's all I need them to do.
All right, here we go. We're
I
gonna
need
we're gonna
some
switch
food.
this over here. Here you go. It is loading. There it is. So yeah, buffer much YouTube? Okay. Um there it goes. So the San Francisco setting, right? We got a really good protagonist in this one from Oakland. That's the new main character. Um I the trailer itself, all the CG in this trailer was pretty on point in my opinion. Um the cool thing that they're talking about doing too with some of the gameplay stuff is the seamless transition into multiplayer co-op with a friend, where you can go on
Yeah, did
co-op
you see
missions.
the gameplay demonstration from Ubisoft's press conference? They had
I
him playing a whole mission. It was pretty awesome.
I didn't see the whole thing, but I caught snippets of it, and I was really excited for it. This on the coattails of Mr. Robot, the TV show. Just that whole hacker culture thing. To be honest with you, it is a fascination of mine because I'm a security guy by trade.
They
So
should have just called the game Mr. Robot.
that
And
I would have I
just
I will
really-
play that game today if they make that game. Mr. Robot the game. I mean, that's Watch Dogs 2, Mr. Robot. Like that's what
That'd
it should be
good if
called.
they have his ghost dad show up in the game. Just a little wink.
Right.
Spoiler alert. Anyway.
So, other game, right? That, well, one thing. This has been the year of the hero first-person shooter MOBA thing for some reason. It's like when Hollywood decided that one year, let's make 3 volcano movies all at once. I don't know how that happened, but it's the same deal here, right? So we got Overwatch and
Battleborn.
Battleborn, and then Cliffy B's working on Lawbreakers, and then Paragon, whoever's doing that thing, is coming out, right? So I'm just like, okay, so here's all this, and then they showed Agents of Mayhem, and that game, I thought like I'm watching a Ghost in the Shell movie. This is amazing.
Oh, from
You
the
know,
Saints Row developers.
yeah, and then at the end of it, I was like, "What the heck is this thing?" And then they get to the end of it, and the camera pulls back, and it's the Saints Row thing on the wall, and I was just like, "Oh my god, this is Saints Row 5." It's, but the sense of humor that those guys have, right, and the way I mean, dildo bats, come on, and they, if that stuff comes through, and I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, this is set up to be like a hero shooter thing, because it's a superhero like Crackdown, right? Oh god, I love Crackdown. They need to put that over on the PC now.
I think we should have a MOBA show next time.
Yeah,
A MOBA show. That's
There's-
definitely,
we could
definitely,
do two. There's enough. but
Daniel.
anyway, so the thing is, like, what Saints Row was to GTA, I bet Agents of Mayhem is going to be to Overwatch.
There's-
But yet
yeah.
open world still, hopefully. But it's going to be a spoof on all this shit, and I hope they kill it.
Nice. Daniel, final thoughts.
Sony killed it. Yeah,
Very nice.
I mean, everything that I saw from Sony, especially, I don't even know if this came up at any point, but Kojima coming out and introducing Death Stranding, I mean, Sony killed it. Period.
Well, I
Wow.
guess Kojima came back from Mars to work on more games
Right.
and stuff like that.
Oh, he wasn't on Mars. He was on Uranus, which is no longer a planet.
You mean Pluto? Or...
Sorry, yeah, Pluto, yeah. But he was also on Uranus.
Oh, thanks.
All right.
Oh my!
Kate,
Well, that's the thing. He showed the company logo, right? And it's like a space suit with a skull in it. It was a badass looking spacesuit. It was like that spacesuit was like everything that movie Prometheus was supposed to be. And I'm just like, oh god, he's gonna make a space game. This is gonna be awesome. And then he had the thing with Reedus, and I was just like, oh, maybe not. I don't know what it's gonna be. Nobody, I don't even know if he knows what it's gonna be, but I know it's gonna be good. But yeah, I cannot tell you anything from that trailer, what the hell that game is going to be about. But I don't think it's going to be in space.
That's typical Kojima style, though.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like Metal Gear 5, I played like halfway through 4, and then Metal Gear 5 is the one I'm dedicated to. I'm just like chipping away at it.
It might even be a Western game, and he just had a hallucination.
It could be. Oh my god, can you imagine Kojima making a Western? Like, just
Oh,
give him
Kill
Red
Bill.
Dead Redemption 2, and yeah. Oh my.
I imagine it would be something like Hateful Eight.
Right? That'd be really cool. All right, KJ, final thoughts.
Yeah, final thoughts. I was incredibly happy with both Microsoft and Sony. They both brought hard-hitting exclusives that I cared about. A couple years ago, when they bring out some of these games, I really didn't care too much. But this year, it seemed like they really catered to me with a lot of these exclusives, man. God of War, Gears of War 4. I mean, the list just goes on. They're both the tech announcements on either side. The VR, that's pretty cool. We're gonna have to see how that plays out. The Xbox One S, that is a lot of hardware at a very affordable rate. Guys, you could get a 4K Blu-ray player right now, Best Buy, for I think $400 to $500, and they're selling you an Xbox that you could get for $300 that does the same thing and plays games. This is a lot of tech announcements, hard-hitting, a lot of hard-hitting exclusives. Both sides delivered to me. Very happy on both sides. Nintendo had Zelda, but they didn't show up as far as anything else. They did not show up. I own a Wii U. I played a lot. What am I doing in the holidays besides Paper Mario? I was left behind on that. But overall, as a total package, this is definitely one of the best E3s I have seen.
Very nice, very nice. Jim, your last thoughts?
I that's pretty much it. The one question I got to KJ though is, did Microsoft actually talk about the hardware that's in the new Xbox? Because if that thing is going to 4K, it's putting 4 times as many pixels on the screen. So they have to have upped their game in the video.
They did break it down. Vex, he couldn't make it tonight. He wanted to. He knows all about that, and he was going into detail. He was essentially telling me that this is a steal overpriced, and I think that's one of the reasons why Sony was like, we're not going to show it.
For $400, man, if somebody will hack that thing and just get desktop Windows running on it, and then it'll just be like, here's the new supercomputer. Don't buy a Dell ever again.
Yeah. Vex said 100% they are definitely selling it at a loss. He said they're definitely.
They got to make a console sale somewhere.
Yeah,
it's like give away the Razer and make your money on the blades has been their thing.
Yeah,
they're giving away a hell of a Razer.
Speaking of Razer and talking about hardware, Razer is entering the VR market now. They're coming out with their open source via VR headset that they're working on. So that ought to be an interesting contender.
That means it's going to get supported by everybody or nobody.
Well, apparently they've got a lot of people partnering up, so I think that's could be a good thing. So we'll see what happens. I was unfortunately not impressed about watching E3, but in hindsight, I feel like I should have now. I definitely caught on a lot of the trailers that were coming through. I'm excited for Titanfall 2 to see where they go with that. I'm definitely excited for Dual Universe. I'm excited for the new Zelda game. I mean, if I'm a fanboy of any console game, it's gonna be Zelda. Like, that is my number one fanboy game on the consoles to be a fanboy about, and I'm sold. I know I want to get one. I've played just about every single one of them all the way through, which I can't say is true for any other game series. Well, except for Halo, but I haven't played Halo 5 because that's just brand new. But I've played all the other ones.
Let's say one thing before I'm out, man. The lead character in Watch Dogs 2 looks like T-Pain.
Oh, for real?
I think he does. Man.
That's pretty cool.
Like who? T-Pain?
Like,
T-Pain. Like buy you a drink.
buy you a drink.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, if they had like an auto tune button.
Auto tune. I don't even have to sing auto tune. Sorry, I'm out.
Hey, what if Zelda is actually Samus?
Okay,
She could
so
fly
anyway,
somewhere.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Here we go. Well, guys, really, that's been our Real Talk E3 wrap up show. We've had a lot of games to talk about. We've covered so much. Leave us a comment, subscribe. Check us out on playlegit.net.
Please do, man.
Go give Mo Chocolate a follow. He's got a lot of stuff from E3. He was representing this year, the Play Legit stuff. We had so much going on, but like for reals, playlegit.net is where it's at. Your only source for gaming and real talk. There it is. KJ's got the shirt. He's got the shirt right there. And yeah, if you also want to swing by, Jim and I are over at the Space Game Junkies doing all the Space Game Junkie things that junkie gamers do.
Where can I buy one of them swank shirts?
So
Buddy, we got one in the mail coming at you.
No, I'm saying, for all the kids out there that need to dress up.
yeah,
to
where's
impress
the
ladies, where do you get that?
where's the shirt store at?
It's coming, man.
Nice.
Work in progress.
Soon you'll be able to get your own Play Legit swag. All right, guys, that's really much. That's it. If there's a game you felt like we missed, let us know. Let us know what you guys liked about the show this year. So yeah, see you guys later.
Later.
Peace.
T-Pain.